So you're planning on moving to San Antonio, but you've never been to the city. Well, you're in luck because today we're going to take a high-level overview of the entire city of San Antonio so that you know where all of the new neighborhoods are, all of the hotspots, and just about everything else you know so you can navigate the city. So let's go dive on in. If you are brand new to the channel and you want to know everything about eating, sleeping, working, playing, all of the good, bad, and even the ugly of living in San Antonio, Texas, then you'll want to make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and also hit that bell icon so that you will be notified the very next time I post a video. If you are looking to relocate to the San Antonio, Texas area in the next few days or even the next few months, please reach out to me. My contact information is down below in the description, and I'm getting calls, texts, and emails all of the time from folks just like you needing my help to make that move to San Antonio as smooth and as simple as possible. All right, y'all, let's dive on into this map tour of San Antonio. Again, this is meant to be a pretty high-level overview, and we won't really be diving deep into any one specific neighborhood or suburb of San Antonio. So if you happen to have any questions about one of those, I will be making some videos in the future. But if that video hasn't been made yet, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly so that I can get your questions answered. So let's start by looking at some of the highways in San Antonio so that you know how to navigate the city and even just get around. So we'll start off with the major ones. This is Interstate 10 right here. This runs east and west across the United States, but it makes a little dip down here into San Antonio before heading east out towards Houston. So if you're trying to get out to Houston, Texas, you'll definitely be taking a little bit of a time out of your day to make that drive, as it's about 3 to 4 hours to get there. But if you're wanting to go north and south, maybe up to Austin, you're going to definitely want to take Interstate 35 up north to Austin. It's going to take you about an hour and a half to get there. But Interstate 35 runs from North Dakota all the way through downtown San Antonio and down to the U.S.-Mexico border there. So forgive me for the terrible line there, but those are probably more of the two major highways to get in and out of San Antonio to other major areas. Another major highway here is Highway 281. So this one runs north and south, and right around the downtown area, it turns into Interstate 37 and continues southward. Now, if you do follow that highway south, you will get to the Gulf Coast of Texas and actually end up in Corpus Christi, Texas. So you can definitely go out there, enjoy the beaches, maybe visit Selena statue, and just have a good time on the beach. Now, other highways that are important of note here is Highway 90. This one goes east and west, and right here just south of downtown, it actually connects with Interstate 10 so that you can continue on to Houston. Highway 16 here gets you out to Bandera, Texas, which is known as the cowboy capital of the world, as they like to claim. So if you're definitely trying to get out to the part of the Texas Hill Country out here into Bandera, that's going to be your main route to get there. Now this little highway here is Highway 151. So this highway here connects Highway 90 with Loop 1604, and it's kind of just like a little shortcut, if you will, to get you to that part of the town. Now, speaking of Loop 1604, we do have two loops around Texas. You can see we have the outer loop right here, and then we also have the inner loop. But this outer loop is known as 1604. It's also called Anderson Loop, but if you go ask someone how to get to Anderson Loop or which way to go on it, they might look at you funny because we just call it Loop 1604. No one really calls it Anderson Loop at all. But that's the outer loop. It'll take you about 2 to 3 hours if you wanted to do one full lap around it. So it's quite expansive, covers a lot of ground around the city of San Antonio. Now the inner loop, which is Loop 410, it is a much smaller loop, of course. And so there's more, it doesn't take quite as long to get around. I really don't know how long it would take, but I would imagine about 2 hours or so, maybe a little less depending on the amount of traffic there. So that is the major highways around there. Of course, if you're in the Texas Hill Country, you've got Highway 46, which connects Bernie, Bulverde, New Braunfels, and Seguin. So all of those areas are kind of covered by Highway 46. Very popular highway, very beautiful drive if you want to take a weekend or an evening to drive out in the Texas Hill Country and experience it. It's definitely worth a drive there. So let's zoom out just a little bit. I want to touch on some of the towns and cities nearby to San Antonio that folks are choosing to live in and making that drive into San Antonio for work or for the downtime weekends. So let's cover those areas real quick. Let's start over here on the east side. This little town of Lavernia is a smaller town. It's got a really nice small town charm to it, but it's experiencing a lot of growth over the past couple of years. So there are a lot of new homes. There are some developers that are moving out there as well and building some new construction homes. So out here you'll find a little bit larger of the acreage home sites and that sort of stuff in Lavernia. Now moving a little bit north to Seguin, Texas. This is probably about a 20 to 30 minute drive into San Antonio, but Seguin is a very blue collar town and it's experiencing a lot of growth right now actually. A lot of folks are moving to Seguin because land is a little bit cheaper out there, so the cost to buy a new construction home is a lot less in most cases than the rest of San Antonio or some of the other towns that we're going to cover here. So if you're looking for the best bang for your buck when it comes to new construction homes, Seguin is probably where you would want to look at. Now, New Braunfels here is a very, very popular area for a lot of folks trying to live close to San Antonio. Driving from New Braunfels to San Antonio is only about a 30-minute drive or so, and it's got a lot of German influence there in New Braunfels. It was actually founded by German settlers way back when, and so there's a lot of German restaurants. There's some German festivals. You'll see a lot of restaurants and business names that have some German language used in them. So it's a very popular area. There's also the world's largest water park here, which is called Schlitterbahn Water Park. It's actually 3 separate water parks that you pay for entrance to one of them, you get entrance to all of them, but they've got all kinds of water rides, water attractions there as well. Now, moving over here a little bit further west, you've got Spring Branch, Canyon Lake, and Bulverde areas. So especially Bulverde and Spring Branch, these areas are very popular for folks living, wanting to live just north of San Antonio, and maybe folks working out here as well. They've got some pretty good large home sites out here as well. You can usually find a 1/4 acre or more of land up here. Of course, there are some more normal neighborhoods where you've got smaller than 1/4 acre lots, but especially in Spring Branch, people like Spring Branch because it's still a very small area, and your dollar goes a little bit further when you're buying a home here. Now, moving more west along 46, we've got the city of Boerne. I was about to ask you if you could say it, but it's pronounced Boerne, like you got a burn on your skin or something. But here, Boerne is a very popular small town as well. A lot of growth has been happening here over the last several years as well. So home prices over here are a little bit higher than what you'll find in the rest of San Antonio in most cases, but they do have a little bit larger home sites as well. Castroville is the last place we'll touch on. It's still very much a small town, but it has seen a lot of popularity from people, again, wanting to flee San Antonio and still be close by. So Castroville is another one of those areas that is gaining some popularity as well. So if you have any questions or some of those towns that we just covered, again, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I want to zoom in here on San Antonio specifically to cover more of the areas where there's some new construction and other things happening, maybe some shopping, entertainment as well for you, so you kind of have those ideas. But first, let's start off with the new construction homes. So San Antonio has been one of those cities that's been expanding from the downtown areas outward. So if you're looking for some newer homes, you're gonna have to look more towards the outside or the outskirts of the San Antonio city limits here to find those newer construction homes. Of course, there are some pockets here and there throughout the city where there are some new construction homes, but for the most part, a lot of the large developments, a lot of the large new neighborhoods are being built away from the downtown area. So within Loop 410 here, inside this shaded area, you're typically going to find older homes, and by older I mean anywhere from the 1900s and on, or forward rather, up until today's time. Of course, there's pockets again where there's some new construction happening, especially over here on the on the east side of town. There's a lot of gentrification happening in that circle right there. So a lot of homes have been renovated to one extent or another. Sometimes they've been torn down and rebuilt. And of course, there's some vacant lots out there that have been completely built up with a brand new house. So older homes are typically found within the loop. If you move in between the two loops, so in this shaded area between 1604 and Loop 410, You'll typically, again, still find some older homes, but newer than the ones closer to downtown. So in that area that was just shaded, you'll typically find homes anywhere from like the 60s to the early 2000s. And then anywhere outside of the loop here, you'll typically find early 2000s to today's time as far as the new construction. So of course, those are just general timelines. You'll definitely find a mix of old and new regardless of where you look around the San Antonio area. So if you're looking strictly for new construction though, and you want to find the hot pockets, let's touch on those real quick. So over here off of Highway 90 on the far west side of San Antonio, that general area has a lot of new neighborhoods, new developments happening out there. But again, because of all of the growth that's been experiencing out here, we're pushing the boundaries of the city limits, and so a lot of the developers are actually moving to this area that I'm circling now to build their new construction homes. So in this general area here is where a lot of the current new construction is happening. In most cases, there's still a lot going on right out here towards the county line of San Antonio as well. So those areas are generally where you're going to find the most new construction homes. Now, there's a ton of amazing homes all over the city, and we'll touch on those as we explore the neighborhoods in future videos. But as for right now, that's kind of where a lot of the stuff is happening. So let's zoom in here to San Antonio, touch on some more landmarks, entertainment, and that sort of stuff. So if you didn't know, San Antonio is actually nicknamed Military City USA because we currently have 4 different military installations, and I believe at one point there was I think up to 6 different installations, but a couple of them have closed over the years. So if you are a military personnel PCSing to San Antonio for work, you can end up in a number of areas depending on the branch of service and your job, of course. So Randolph Air Force Base is over here on the northeast side. It's this little yellow area that I just circled. That's a popular base. You've also got Fort Sam Houston in this general area. It's an Army base and has a lot of space there for folks to go in and out for training. Now, Lackland Air Force Base is right down here in this circled area. There's actually 2 parts to the base. We've got the annex on the left side and then the main part of the base over here on the right. But all Air Force enlisted personnel joining the military for the first time will come through Lackland Air Force Base. So on the weekends when those folks are graduating and they're getting to see their families for the first time in a couple of months, there's a lot of traffic, and a lot of the restaurants and stuff over in this area are filled up with those families. So there's those, and then the final military installation is actually here towards the top of our screen. This is Camp Bullis, so it's a large area used for some military training. So this whole area up here is used for Camp Bullis. So those are the major military bases here in town, and why we have the nickname of Military City USA. Now, if you're let's zoom in here. If you're someone who likes to travel a lot, or your job takes you traveling a lot, you're going to want to be close to the airport, or at least have an idea of where it's at. So the airport is actually right here in this area that I just circled. So San Antonio Airport is there. And while we're zoomed in, I want to share the theme parks, because we can see actually all 3 of our theme parks here on the screen as we're zoomed in. So starting on the far west side, we have SeaWorld San Antonio. Of course, you can see Shamu, you can see sea lions, sharks, all that fun stuff. They've got some amazing, incredible shows out there to go watch for the whole family to enjoy. But that is SeaWorld on the far west side. Up here to the top of our screen, we've got Six Flags Fiesta Texas. They've got some great shows as well, a lot of cool rides. I think they're actually getting a new one here in 2023. So it's a pretty good spot there. And then we've got this third and final one, which is Morgan's Wonderland. This is a different theme park compared to Six Flags and SeaWorld. So there was a girl named Morgan, that's why it's called Morgan's Wonderland, but her father wanted her to have an experience quite like the folks were enjoying at Six Flags and SeaWorld. And so Morgan's Wonderland is actually a theme park built for differently abled persons to enjoy the theme park experience. So it's got a great backstory, and it's just a pretty amazing place over there. So let's get rid of the pen for just a second. I want to zoom in close to the downtown area. take you to, some of the music venues. So maybe you're going to go see a live music concert, or like a performing arts thing, or maybe you're going to go watch the San Antonio Spurs play. So I want to point those out to you. So you can see here we've got the AT&T Center. This is where the Spurs play, and there's a lot of music events that happen here as well. And every February we actually have the San Antonio Rodeo that comes through here as well. So AT&T Center is a big destination for a lot of big events. In this area here, that's circled, you can't see it right now on the map because we're not zoomed in enough, but this area right here has the Alamo Dome. This is where one of our local colleges and universities play football games every time, and there's also some big music events that happen there at the Alamo Dome. Now here over by Lackland is the Techport Center and Arena. This area is a newer venue. I believe it opened sometime earlier this year in 2022, but they also have a lot of music events that happen here at the Techport Center. So if you like music, like evening events, that's probably where you're going to end up for those kind of things. Now let's zoom in here. I see the San Antonio Zoo, so I wanted to point this out right here. Of course, it's just north of downtown. You've got the San Antonio Botanical Gardens, and then there's also the Whitty Museum, which is very popular right in this area as well. So very good areas there. Let me see, can I zoom out? Thank you. What else? So if you are someone who works in warehouses or logistics, maybe you are a truck driver, and that's what you do for your career. Over here on the east side of San Antonio is where a lot of those warehouses and those types of jobs are. So if you're in the transportation and logistics career field, this is where you're most likely going to be working for those types of jobs. Now, medical profession is a huge part of our economy here in San Antonio. We've actually got the Texas Medical Center, Southwest Texas Medical Center rather, right here in that area. So we have a lot of doctors and medical professionals working in that area, as there's a high concentration of hospitals there. Also, there's students doing some in-residency there, so there's a lot of medical residents that live in this area as well. Now, as far as shopping and entertainment, you're going to find stores all across San Antonio, just like you're going to find in any other metro area. But some of the areas of larger concentration for shopping and entertainment, let's go over that real quick. So over here by Six Flags Fiesta Texas, just below it is actually La Cantera Mall. It's an open air mall with some of the higher end stores. So it's got a lot of high end retailers and stuff over there. Across from it, you'll find a major shopping center with Bass Pro Shops, Target, Dick's Sporting Goods, Staples, those kinds of stores here. You'll also find, those kind of stores at all of the major highway intersections. You'll find more right here at 1604 and 281. You'll find more here at 35 and 1604. There's another mall right here. This one doesn't have quite as many stores. It's losing some popularity, so a lot of stores are leaving that mall, but there are still a few department stores at that mall. Another popular mall is right here off of Loop 410 and 281. It's called North Star Mall, and it's a very popular area. Lots of shopping, food, and entertainment right there. You've got some great stores there. Now, another mall is Ingram Park Mall over here off of Loop 410. So that's a pretty good spot as well. And I believe that's all of the malls I can think of off the top of my head at the moment. There's been a couple that have shut down over the years. Right here, just north of downtown, you'll find the Alamo Quarry Shopping Center. You've got some more department stores, kind of like the Rim over in this area, but another area right here. So there's a lot of those kinds of places spread throughout the city. Now, if you are looking for some pretty good food spots, let's zoom in to the downtown area, and I want to show you some good places for some unique restaurants and entertainment here. So right here off of 281 and 35, this intersection right here, you will find the Pearl Brewery. So it was an old brewery that shut down and has been renovated to have a lot of shops and restaurants and even a couple of hotels. So every weekend there's a farmer's market down here. So the Pearl is a pretty happening and popular spot, especially on the weekends. Now down here towards the south end of downtown, you've got the Lone Star District as well as Southtown. So Lone Star is named after the Lone Star Brewery that's down here. This area is currently have plans to be revitalized and be very similar to the Pearl, so it's going to have a lot of shops, restaurants, bars, and that sort of stuff. But Southtown, it's an established area, and there are a few unique restaurants down here that are definitely worth trying. There's some bars and other great places to enjoy down there as well. And one area I did forget is just north, so the Pearl is right here, so just north of the Pearl is St. Mary Street. There's a lot of bars here. There's also a kind of like an underground music venue here as well, so there's some amazing places to go eat and drink at right in that area as well. Now there of course are pockets of unique restaurants and bars all over San Antonio, but those are probably the more hot spots that people like to travel across the city to go to. But other than that, I think that is all I have for you on the map tour here today. I know I've covered quite a bit, but in future videos, we'll definitely take a deep dive into some of the neighborhoods and suburbs of San Antonio. So I hope you found this useful. And if you did, please go ahead and like the video for me. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you gained some value out of this video and hope it really helped you kind of picture what part of San Antonio you would like to live in whenever you decide to move down here. Now, if you did find some value out of this video, please go ahead and hit that like button for me. And while you're there, please go ahead and smash the subscribe button so that you'll be notified the very next time I post a video. Whenever you are ready to relocate to San Antonio, I am here to help you. My contact information is down below. And again, I'm getting calls, texts, and emails all of the time from folks just like you who need my help moving to the San Antonio area. I want to thank you one last time for watching this video. I hope you have an incredible day, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.